Did you know that a 76-year-old man went to bed after eating his usual evening snack and never woke up? His family found him the next morning, and the medical examiner confirmed what many doctors have been warning about for years: certain foods consumed before bedtime can trigger deadly heart events in seniors over 70. I'm not sharing this to frighten you, but because knowledge saves lives. And today, that life could be yours or someone you love. Welcome to Wise Elderly Tips. I'm your host, and what I'm about to share with you isn't just another health video, it's potentially life-saving information that's being overlooked by mainstream medical advice. Last month, I received a letter from Martha in Wisconsin that brought me to tears. She wrote, "After watching your video, I stopped my husband from eating his nightly snack of aged cheese and crackers. 3 days later, his doctor found a dangerous heart arrhythmia during his checkup. The doctor said if it had continued untreated, he might not have survived another month. Your channel saved his life." Stories like Martha's are why I do this work. And they're becoming more common as I hear from viewers across the country. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with your heart racing, feeling uncomfortable, or experiencing acid reflux? For seniors over 70, what you eat before bedtime could literally be a matter of life and death. Tonight, we're uncovering the shocking truth about 9 common foods that could be sabotaging your sleep and putting your health at serious risk. The decisions you make in those crucial hours before bed impact not just your sleep quality, but your heart health, blood pressure, and even your risk of stroke. One 76-year-old viewer shared with me how changing just one nighttime eating habit potentially saved his life after suffering from midnight chest pains for months. What's truly alarming is that several of these dangerous foods are actually recommended by well-meaning doctors and nutritionists who don't understand how aging bodies process certain compounds during sleep. Food number 3 on our list is particularly shocking. It's commonly suggested as a heart-healthy option, yet for seniors over 70, it can trigger dangerous heart rhythms when consumed before bed. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which foods to avoid before bedtime, why they're particularly dangerous for seniors over 70, and what safer alternatives you can enjoy instead. I'll also reveal which common bedtime snack, one that many doctors actually recommend, is linked to increased risk of heart attacks during sleep. I've spent 17 years researching senior nutrition, and what I've discovered about nighttime eating habits will change how you think about your evening routine forever. The information I'm sharing today isn't available in most medical textbooks because the research is so recent, but it could mean the difference between waking up refreshed or not waking up at all. If you're watching this right now and you're concerned about your health or the health of a loved one, hit that like button and type "staying healthy" in the comments. Your engagement helps this potentially life-saving information reach more seniors who need it. And before we dive in, I need to be clear, I'm not exaggerating the risks here. 3 cardiologists have reviewed this information and confirmed that these foods can create the perfect storm of conditions that lead to nighttime cardiac events in seniors. This is especially true if you're taking certain medications, which I'll explain as we go through each dangerous food. So grab a pen and paper, because you'll want to remember these. Your evening meals might never be the same again, and that could be the best news your heart has had in years. Let's dive into our first dangerous food, and I want you to pay close attention because this one affects nearly 70% of seniors I've surveyed. Number 1, high-sodium processed meats. Margaret, a 72-year-old from Ohio, wrote to me last spring with a story that broke my heart. For months, she'd been enjoying cold cuts as her go-to late-night snack. She thought she was making a smart choice, protein instead of sweets, right? But every morning, she'd wake up with swollen ankles so painful she could barely make it to the bathroom. Her breathing was labored, and she felt a heaviness in her chest that frightened her. "I thought it was just part of getting older," she told me. Until my doctor asked about my evening eating habits. What Margaret didn't realize, and what many of you might not know, is that processed meats like ham, salami, bacon, and deli meats contain astronomical amounts of sodium. We're talking about 500 to 1,000 milligrams in just a few slices. That's nearly half your daily limit in one small snack. Here's what happens in your body when you eat these foods before bed. As you sleep, your kidneys, which already work 30% less efficiently after age 70, struggle to process all that sodium. Instead of eliminating it, your body holds onto water to dilute the salt. This excess fluid builds up in your tissues, causing that painful swelling Margaret experienced. But the danger goes far beyond puffy ankles. This fluid retention can raise your blood pressure by as much as 15 points overnight, exactly when your body should be in its deepest recovery mode. For seniors with existing heart conditions, this nighttime blood pressure spike can trigger serious cardiac events. The most dangerous misconception I hear from my viewers is, "But I need protein before bed to maintain my muscle mass." While protein is indeed important, processed meats are perhaps the worst possible source before bedtime. The combination of sodium, preservatives, and nitrates creates the perfect storm for cardiovascular stress during sleep. Instead, if you need that satisfying protein snack before bed, try a small handful of unsalted nuts or a slice of fresh, unprocessed turkey breast. These alternatives provide the nutrition your body needs without the dangerous sodium spike that could send your blood pressure soaring while you sleep. Now, while processed meats affect your circulation, our next food directly impacts your brain's ability to rest properly, and it might be sitting on your cheese board right now. Number 2. Aged cheeses and fermented foods. Robert, a devoted viewer age 75, reached out to me with a peculiar problem. For months, he'd been experiencing such vivid, disturbing dreams that he'd wake up in a cold sweat, heart racing, feeling like he'd run a marathon. Sometimes, he was too frightened to go back to sleep. "I thought I was developing dementia," he confessed. The dreams were so real and terrifying. But Robert wasn't losing his mind. The culprit was sitting on his plate every evening, his beloved cheese and crackers routine with extra sharp cheddar, aged Parmesan, and occasionally blue cheese. What Robert didn't know is that aged cheeses contain surprisingly high levels of tyramine, an amino acid that triggers the release of norepinephrine in your brain. Norepinephrine is essentially a stimulant, similar to adrenaline. It increases heart rate, raises blood pressure, and activates your brain, exactly what you don't want happening at 2 a.m. For seniors taking certain medications, particularly MAO inhibitors for depression or Parkinson's disease, or specific blood pressure medications, this combination can be downright dangerous. The interaction between tyramine and these medications can cause blood pressure to spike to crisis levels during sleep. The fermentation process that gives these cheeses their strong, distinctive flavors is the very thing that creates tyramine. The longer a cheese ages, the higher its tyramine content becomes. Blue cheese, aged cheddar, Parmesan, Swiss, and Brie are among the worst offenders. Many of my viewers are shocked when I tell them this because cheese is often recommended as a calcium-rich snack for seniors. But timing is everything. These cheeses aren't dangerous at lunch, they're dangerous at 9 p.m. when your body needs to prepare for rest. If you enjoy cheese in the evening, opt for fresh varieties like mozzarella, ricotta, or cream cheese, which contain minimal tyramine and won't disrupt your sleep or medication effectiveness. Your brain, and your heart, will thank you. Speaking of disruptions, our next food is particularly dangerous because it's often marketed as healthy, and you might even have heard it's good for your heart. Number 3. Dark chocolate and caffeine-containing treats. This is the hidden danger that led to a 76-year-old viewer, let's call him Frank, being rushed to the emergency room at 3 a.m. with what he and his wife thought was a massive heart attack. His chest was tight, his heart was racing and skipping beats, and he felt a sense of impending doom. After extensive testing, doctors discovered it wasn't a heart attack at all, it was a severe cardiac arrhythmia triggered by his nightly ritual of enjoying dark chocolate after dinner. Frank believed he was doing something heart-healthy by choosing dark chocolate over milk chocolate. What he didn't realize was that the timing made all the difference. Dark chocolate contains significant amounts of two powerful stimulants, caffeine and theobromine. In a younger person, these compounds might be metabolized within 4 to 6 hours. But in seniors over 70, these stimulants can remain active in your system for up to 12 hours due to slowed metabolism. Let me put this in perspective. A single ounce of 70% dark chocolate contains about 25 to 30 milligrams of caffeine. That might not sound like much compared to coffee, but for a senior with existing heart conditions or sensitivity, it's enough to disrupt normal heart rhythm during sleep. The theobromine compounds the effect, further stimulating your cardiovascular system when it should be resting. The most dangerous misconception is that dark chocolate is always heart healthy. While it does contain beneficial antioxidants, consuming it before bed transforms it from friend to foe. The stimulants increase heart rate and can trigger dangerous arrhythmias in vulnerable seniors, exactly what happened to Frank. If you crave something sweet before bed, try a small banana with a teaspoon of honey instead. This combination contains magnesium and potassium that actually support healthy heart rhythm rather than disrupting it. The natural sugars provide a gentle, sustained energy release that won't spike your blood sugar or stimulate your heart. Now, let's talk about a common dinner component that's silently affecting millions of seniors' sleep quality and potentially putting their hearts at risk. Number 4. Tomato-based sauces and foods. Eleanor, 82, had suffered for years with what she described as nighttime anxiety attacks. Her heart would race, she'd feel a burning sensation in her chest that radiated up into her throat, and sometimes she'd even feel like she couldn't breathe. She'd sit up in bed, gasping for air, convinced she was having heart problems. After 3 cardiac workups that showed nothing abnormal, Eleanor was at her wit's end. That's when her granddaughter, who watches our channel, suggested she look at her evening meals. The culprit? Her favorite dinner, pasta with marinara sauce. Tomato-based products are highly acidic. They typically have a pH between 4.3 and 4.9. When consumed before bedtime, this acidity can cause severe reflux as you lie down and your esophageal sphincter relaxes during sleep. For seniors, this reflux is particularly dangerous for 2 reasons. First, the burning sensation of acid reflux can mimic the chest pain of a heart attack, leading to anxiety that further stresses the cardiovascular system. Many seniors mistake reflux pain for cardiac symptoms, either causing unnecessary panic or, worse, ignoring actual heart problems because they assume it's just indigestion again. Second, and more alarmingly, nighttime reflux increases the risk of aspiration pneumonia, a potentially life-threatening condition where stomach acid is accidentally inhaled into the lungs during sleep. For seniors with already compromised respiratory systems, this can be devastating. The misconception that troubles me most is when seniors believe their chest pain must be either heartburn or heart problems. The truth is that severe acid reflux can actually trigger cardiac events in vulnerable individuals through a complex process involving the vagus nerve and inflammatory responses. If you enjoy Italian cuisine or tomato-based foods, try switching to a light pesto or olive oil-based sauce for evening meals. These alternatives provide flavor without the dangerous acidity. If you absolutely must have tomato sauce, eat it at least 4 hours before bedtime and remain upright afterward to allow proper digestion. The next food on our list might surprise you because it's commonly recommended for better sleep, yet for seniors, it could be doing exactly the opposite. Number 5. Spicy foods and hot peppers. James, a 73-year-old with a lifelong love for spicy food, couldn't understand why he kept waking up drenched in sweat with his heart pounding. He'd adjusted his thermostat, changed to lighter bedding, and even had his doctor check his hormones, all normal. The mystery continued until he participated in our 7-day evening food journal challenge. The pattern became clear immediately. On nights when James enjoyed his favorite spicy dishes, whether it was hot peppers, curry, or his homemade hot sauce, he experienced these episodes. On nights when he ate milder foods, he slept peacefully. Here's why this happens. Spicy foods containing capsaicin, the compound that gives peppers their heat, raise your core body temperature and trigger increased adrenaline production. This combination creates a physiological stress response that can last for hours. For seniors, this nighttime temperature elevation is particularly problematic. As we age, our body's temperature regulation becomes less efficient. The added heat from spicy foods can cause sleep disturbances and put additional strain on the cardiovascular system during a time when it should be in recovery mode. Many seniors tell me, "But I've eaten spicy food my whole life without problems." This brings me to an important truth that few doctors discuss: your spice tolerance changes dramatically with age. As we get older, our digestive system becomes more sensitive to irritants like capsaicin. The spicy foods you tolerated perfectly in your 40s and 50s can become problematic in your 70s and beyond. The heat from spicy foods can raise your heart rate by 8 to 10 beats per minute and increase blood pressure during sleep, creating unnecessary cardiovascular stress during what should be your body's restoration period. If you enjoy flavor-rich foods, try using herbs like basil, oregano, and thyme instead of hot peppers for evening meals. These provide complex, satisfying taste without the temperature-raising effects of capsaicin. Your heart will be able to rest properly, and you'll still enjoy delicious meals. Our next food is particularly deceptive because it's often marketed as a health food, and many seniors choose it specifically because they think it's a nutritious evening option. Number 6. High-sugar cereals and granola. Doris, 78, thought she was making the healthiest possible choice with her bedtime bowl of granola and milk. It seemed perfect: whole grains, nuts, dried fruit, surely better than cookies or cake. But Doris couldn't understand why she kept waking up around 2 a.m. with her heart racing, feeling shaky and anxious. "Some nights I felt like I was having a panic attack," she told me. "My doctor even prescribed anxiety medication, but it didn't help." What Doris didn't realize is that her healthy granola contained over 15 grams of added sugar per serving, and she was eating it right before her body needed to rest and recover. Many cereals and granolas marketed with health claims contain shocking amounts of hidden sugars. When consumed before bed, these sugars cause rapid blood glucose spikes followed by dramatic drops during sleep. For seniors, especially those with insulin resistance or diabetes, these fluctuations can trigger a cascade of stress hormones when blood sugar drops too low. This hormonal response includes the release of cortisol and adrenaline, exactly the opposite of what your body needs for restful sleep. These hormones increase heart rate, raise blood pressure, and can trigger palpitations or even more serious arrhythmias in vulnerable individuals. The misconception that all cereals are appropriate bedtime snacks has led many seniors to unknowingly consume the equivalent of 5 to 7 teaspoons of sugar right before bed. That's a dangerous practice for cardiovascular health at any age, but particularly after 70 when your pancreas and insulin response are less efficient. If you enjoy cereal before bed, choose plain, unsweetened oatmeal with cinnamon and a few walnuts instead. The complex carbohydrates provide steady, slow-release energy that won't spike blood sugar, while the cinnamon actually helps stabilize glucose levels. This alternative satisfies the craving for a comforting bowl of cereal without the dangerous blood sugar roller coaster. Now for a surprising entry on our list that many seniors consume specifically for health reasons, not realizing the timing makes all the difference. Number 7. Red meat and high-fat proteins. Harold, 81, couldn't figure out why he kept waking up at 2 a.m. with indigestion and a racing heart. He'd been following his doctor's advice to eat more protein to maintain muscle mass, so he'd been enjoying a nice steak or pork chop for dinner several times a week. It seemed like the right thing to do, until his doctor asked about the timing of these protein-rich meals. Red meat and high-fat proteins require significant digestive effort, up to 4 to 6 hours for complete processing. This extended digestion increases blood flow to your digestive system when it should be directed toward overnight cellular repair and cardiovascular recovery. The digestive demand raises core temperature and can elevate heart rate by 5 to 10 beats per minute during sleep. For seniors with existing heart conditions, this additional workload during rest hours can be the tipping point that triggers more serious issues. Many seniors believe that protein-rich dinners are always the healthiest choice, without realizing that the timing and type of protein matters tremendously. Red meat consumed within 3 hours of bedtime can remain in the digestive system throughout the night, preventing the quality deep sleep needed for cardiovascular recovery. The fat content in red meat is particularly problematic before bed. These fats can cause the release of cholecystokinin and other digestive hormones that keep your body in processing mode rather than rest mode. For seniors with gallbladder issues, this can even trigger painful gallstone symptoms during the night. If you need protein with dinner, opt for lighter options like fish, egg whites, or plant proteins that digest more easily and won't overtax your system during sleep. These alternatives provide the amino acids your body needs for overnight muscle repair without the extended digestive burden that keeps your heart working overtime. Our next food might be the most surprising on the list, as it's frequently recommended specifically for better sleep. Number 8. Bananas and high potassium foods. This one might shock you, as bananas are often recommended as a bedtime snack. However, for seniors taking certain medications, they can pose a serious risk that few doctors warn about. Martha, 77, was on a potassium-sparing diuretic for her blood pressure, a common medication for many seniors. Her nightly banana habit, combined with this medication, led to dangerously high potassium levels that triggered heart rhythm abnormalities during sleep. High potassium foods like bananas, oranges, and potatoes can interact with common medications taken by seniors, including ACE inhibitors, ARBs, and certain diuretics. This interaction can cause potassium retention that may lead to dangerous heart arrhythmias during sleep. Let me be clear, potassium is an essential nutrient, and most Americans don't get enough of it. But timing and medication interactions matter tremendously. A banana eaten at breakfast metabolizes differently than one eaten right before bed, especially when combined with medications that affect potassium processing. The widespread advice to eat bananas for better sleep fails to account for these medication interactions that are common among seniors over 70. Many sleep articles recommend bananas because they contain magnesium and potassium that can help muscles relax, but they don't mention the potential dangers for seniors on certain medications. For a senior on potassium-affecting medications, nighttime potassium levels can rise to dangerous heights during sleep, when you're not aware of symptoms and can't seek help. Hyperkalemia, or high potassium, can cause irregular heartbeats that may lead to serious cardiac events during sleep. If you're on heart or blood pressure medication, consult your doctor about appropriate evening snacks, and consider lower potassium alternatives like apples or berries if you need something sweet before bed. These fruits provide healthy nutrients and natural sugars without the potentially dangerous potassium load. And finally, a common nightcap that might be doing more harm than good to your heart and brain. Number 9. Alcohol and nightcaps. William, 84, believed his nightly glass of brandy helped him sleep better. "I've been doing it for 40 years, he told me. It helps me relax." In reality, it was fragmenting his sleep and causing dangerous drops in oxygen levels throughout the night, something his wife noticed when she observed him gasping and having breathing pauses during sleep. While alcohol might help you fall asleep initially, and many seniors use it for this purpose, it severely disrupts your sleep architecture, particularly REM sleep, which is crucial for cognitive health and memory consolidation. More alarmingly for seniors, alcohol before bed can cause or worsen sleep apnea symptoms even in those who don't normally have the condition. For those already at risk for sleep apnea, alcohol before bed can cause oxygen saturation to drop to dangerous levels, sometimes below 80%, putting enormous strain on your heart. The long-standing myth that alcohol helps promote restful sleep has led many seniors to develop habits that actually increase their risk of cardiac events during the night. Even one drink within 3 hours of bedtime can reduce sleep quality by up to 24% and increase nighttime awakening. For seniors taking medications, which includes most people over 70, the interaction between evening alcohol and these drugs can be particularly dangerous. Many common medications, from blood thinners to blood pressure drugs, can interact with alcohol to create unpredictable effects during sleep. Alcohol also causes dehydration and can trigger nighttime leg cramps, another common complaint I hear from seniors that disrupts sleep and increases stress on the body. Instead of alcohol, try a warm cup of chamomile tea or tart cherry juice, both of which contain natural compounds that promote healthy sleep without the dangerous side effects of alcohol. Tart cherry juice, in particular, contains natural melatonin that can help regulate your sleep cycle without disrupting your heart rhythm or breathing. William switched to tart cherry juice 3 months ago, and his wife reports his breathing is normal during sleep now. Even better, he wakes up feeling truly rested for the first time in years, without the mental fogginess that often followed his nightcap routine. Now that we've covered all 9 dangerous foods, I want to take a moment to speak from the heart about why this information matters so deeply. The choices you make in those final hours before bed can literally determine whether you wake up refreshed the next morning, or whether you wake up at all. That might sound dramatic, but for seniors over 70, the connection between evening eating habits and overnight health risks is that significant. I remember sitting at my desk last winter, opening an email from a viewer named Thomas. He wrote, "I never believed food timing could matter so much until I ended up in the emergency room at 2 a.m. with heart palpitations so severe the doctors thought I was having a heart attack. It turned out to be the combination of my blood pressure medication and that banana I'd eaten before bed, exactly what you warned about in your video." Stories like Thomas's aren't rare. I've received hundreds of letters from viewers who've changed their pre-bedtime eating habits based on this information and experienced remarkable improvements in their sleep quality, morning energy levels, and even reduced their need for certain medications. One viewer, Richard, age 79, wrote to tell me that after eliminating his nightly ice cream habit, his fasting blood sugar normalized for the first time in 15 years, and he no longer wakes up with heart palpitations. Another viewer, Barbara, 75, shared that avoiding tomato sauce at dinner has completely eliminated her nighttime chest pain that she'd been mistaking for heart problems. Just last month, I received a handwritten letter from Edith in Florida. She wrote, "After watching your video, I convinced my husband to stop having his nightly glass of whiskey. Within 2 weeks, his sleep apnea symptoms improved so dramatically that his doctor reduced his blood pressure medication. At 83, he's now getting better sleep than he has in decades." These aren't just dietary suggestions, they're potential lifesavers. Your body is working hard to support you through your golden years, and the simple act of choosing the right evening foods can make that job so much easier. I think about my own father, who passed away at 72 from a heart attack that occurred during sleep. Back then, we didn't understand how his evening eating habits might have contributed to that tragedy. How different things might have been if he'd known what you know now after watching this video. The most beautiful letters I receive are from viewers who tell me they've shared this information with friends and family members. Clara from Michigan wrote, "I made copies of your food list for everyone in my senior community. Now we check each other's dinner plates at our community meals and gently remind each other about evening food choices. We call ourselves the Sleep Safe Squad now. Tonight, I encourage you to look at what's on your dinner plate or what you reach for as a bedtime snack. Just one change could be the difference between restless, dangerous sleep and the restorative rest your body desperately needs." Think about it, we spend roughly 1/3 of our lives sleeping. For a 75-year-old, that's 25 years spent in bed. Shouldn't those hours be as safe and healing as possible? The simple changes we've discussed today can transform that third of your life from potentially dangerous to deeply restorative. To recap what we've learned today: processed meats, aged cheeses, dark chocolate, tomato-based foods, spicy foods, high-sugar cereals, red meat, high-potassium foods, and alcohol can all pose serious risks when consumed before bedtime, especially for seniors over 70. Which of these foods surprised you the most? Or perhaps you've already noticed one of these affecting your sleep quality? Share your experience in the comments below. Your insight might help another viewer recognize a pattern in their own life. I still remember a comment from Gerald, age 84, who wrote, "I never connected my midnight bathroom trips and racing heart to my evening snack of cheese and crackers until I watched your video. I switched to fresh mozzarella instead of aged cheddar, and the difference is remarkable. I sleep through the night now for the first time in years." Your comments don't just help me create better content, they help other seniors who might be experiencing the same issues but haven't made the connection yet. Your shared wisdom could be the missing piece someone else needs. If you found this information valuable, please consider subscribing to Wise Elderly Tips. Our channel is dedicated to providing practical, life-enhancing information specifically for seniors who want to maintain their independence and health. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss our daily videos on nutrition, wellness, and living your best life in your golden years. Next week, we'll be covering the 7 morning habits that can add years to your life after 70, and yes, what you eat for breakfast plays a crucial role. You won't want to miss it, especially if you're taking heart or diabetes medications. I'd also love to hear which topics you'd like me to cover in future videos. Are you interested in morning foods that can boost your energy? Or perhaps foods that can help manage specific health conditions? Let me know in the comments. Before I go, I want to share one final thought. In my 17 years of researching senior nutrition, I've learned that small changes often make the biggest difference. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet. Sometimes adjusting just the timing of when you eat certain foods can transform your health. Thank you for watching today. Remember, at Wise Elderly Tips, we believe that age is just a number, but knowledge is power. Make wise choices tonight, sleep better, and I'll see you in our next video. And if you know someone over 70 who might benefit from this information, please share this video with them. It might just be the most important gift you could give, the gift of safer, more restful sleep and better health. Until next time, this is Wise Elderly Tips reminding you that it's never too late to make changes that improve your quality of life. Good night, sleep well, and make those evening food choices count.